This is the Pilot's News Briefing Podcast. I'm Frank Daniels. With me today is Matt Lamb from the Pilot's Newsroom, bringing us the latest news in Moore County. And you have a response and a follow-up from the story we talked about last week.
Correct. I think it'd only be fair to follow up on the story that we mentioned for all the folks who missed it last week. Moore County District Court Judge Beth Tanner and Clerk of Superior Court candidate Deborah Duerring have officially answered a lawsuit that was brought by the Moore County Clerk of Court, Todd Maness, in which both of them are named as defendants in a libel and slander complaint. And again, for the folks that missed out last week, I think it's worth noting some of these long-standing historical tensions at the Moore County Courthouse. In December of 2023, Tanner ordered Maness to respond to some concerns about what she kind of considered procedural shortfalls at the Carthage Courthouse. That was called a show cause order. And it was a 4-page attachment. And Tanner outlined some problems that she saw centered on kind of administrative matters: court files, access, the availability of assistant clerks, and kind of the scheduling of cases. 2 weeks later, Maness sued. And he not only sued Judge Tanner, but he sued retired Superior Court Judge Jim Webb. And his contention was that they had this goal of subverting and overriding the will of the people of Moore County, who had elected Maness as the rightful and lawful clerk of court in Moore County. It was ultimately dropped. And shortly after it was dropped, kind of the head shed up at the courthouse, Chief District Court Judge Don Skipper Creed and Judge Stone, they issued kind of a rules of the road. And it was a joint administrative order, and it called for decorum and the rules of engagement for all the parties in the Moore County judiciary moving forward. While those suits were dropped, something new developed last week. So it's kind of, I don't know, what we called it, 2 years to the day.
You said it was like
after the administrative
days.
order.
Yeah.
So Maness has again sued Tanner, but this time Duerring, his election challenger, has also been roped into the lawsuit in this new complaint. And he invokes the previous lawsuit. And so I think this is a kind of a worthwhile quote. Defendant Tanner has attempted to smear and defame plaintiff for almost 3 years, and defendant Duerring will apparently say anything, to include outright lies, in hopes of defeating plaintiff in the election against each other. So that's kind of the backdrop of this whole thing. It's a bit of a fracas between Maness and Tanner and a bit of a back and forth. But the idea of the whole lawsuit is that there was a series of text messages between Tanner and Judge Stone questioning whether Maness had followed the correct steps regarding the Moore County Jury Commission. And I think I read some of those messages for you last time. They are included as exhibits in my story. A jury commission is a 3-person county panel appointed to 2-year terms, and they kind of compile a master list of potential jurors. And they draw from registered voters and licensed drivers. They meet occasionally to draw those jurors for district and superior court. Currently, Randy Hussey, Jim Peterson, Dennis Holder are our 3-person panel. And Stone has a choice, Maness has a choice, and the County Board of Commissioners have a choice. So that's how those 3 names got put together. And you know, basically there was this contention that Maness failed to act accordingly, and that he then went to the County Board of Commissioners and asked them to consider a resolution to the General Assembly to get rid of the jury commission. Interestingly enough, I found some minutes from a recent County Board of Commissioners meeting. And I'll read that to you as well. A current jury commissioner has informed County Commissioner Tom Adams that the process is outdated and archaic given today's technology and computer databases. Commissioner Adams added that people are not lining up to serve on the commission because it's time-consuming and the process would be better handled by staff given the large number of people in the jury pool. So we're not really sure what the nexus of this whole argument was or this engagement, but one of the commissioners brought it to the Board of Commissioners. And here's another quote. However, after discussions with Commissioner John Ritter, who's also an attorney, he requested additional input from the clerk of court and the jury commissioner who spoke with him recently. What ultimately happened was a resolution was passed on December 1st that they would ask the General Assembly to study the need for a jury commission. So the new lawsuit contends that Tanner kind of ignored her chain of command. She went straight to Stone. She laid out all of these issues that she thought Maness had with the jury commission. And there was ultimately an investigation. And according to Maness's lawsuit, the investigation found, in quotes, Judge Tanner's allegations were completely false and without merit. And that's from Maness. And then Duerring, she is a deputy clerk of court in Chatham County. And she was included in this lawsuit because of comments that she made at a more Republican women's group forum. And again, I want to read this to you verbatim because the recording is very important. We've also included that in the story. This is Deborah Duerring at the More Women's Forum. I think there are issues with the way that jury selection has been handled, allowing a non-timely, it's a delay for our jury trials and a delay for selection of grand jurors. That's what she said. So all of that ultimately roped Tanner and Duerring into a lawsuit where Maness claims libel and slander. So Tanner responds, and they both filed responses, excuse me. Tanner's attorney basically says that there's fundamental flaws in this case, and it warrants dismissal. And it says that the complaint fails to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. And so that's rules of civil procedure, and it basically means that there's not enough legally sufficient facts, even if they're true, to show a violation. And she does hearken back to the previous dispute with Maness, saying many of the allegations in the complaint in this action are identical and substantially similar to the allegations in plaintiff's complaint in the prior action. And that because it's been brought back up, it's elapsed its 1 year savings period, so it's not really pertinent anymore. And then Tanner goes on to say that the crux of the messages with Stone, they're not really actionable because they were legitimate questions of the judge regarding the jury commission, and that they were made in good faith and that there was no malice involved. And as for she requests sanctions as well. Both Tanner and Duerring have asked for sanctions, but she contends that the suit's frivolous and the allegations are not well grounded in fact, and that effectively this is all an abuse of the legal system. And then we've got Duerring's response. And interestingly enough, Mike Newman, her attorney, took a more sharp approach. He filed a couple different documents, a motion dismissal and for sanctions. He also filed a public records request and an interesting draft for Maness's attorney Porter that offered him an off-ramp. And again, I read this to you. I'm providing you with the opportunity to reassess the validity of the actual slander claim that you filed against Deborah. I'm asking you to review what she actually said at the January 28th Republican Women's Candidate Forum. And he basically says that Porter didn't know what Duerring actually said or what she supposedly said. Newman goes on to say, Deborah never mentioned Todd. She never mentioned Judge Tanner. She never mentioned Judge Stone, nor were any of Deborah's remarks false or defamatory in any way, not even close. And so I think this is probably the best part of the entire filing regarding the 24-hour grace period. Newman writes, neither Deborah nor I have any desire to become further entangled in the dark and grotesque underbelly of local politics. In my opinion, this fiasco is an utter embarrassment for the entire Moore County Bar. It impugns the integrity of all honest judicial officers. It borders on the illegally obscene. We want no part of it. That said, and grotesque or not, I intend to do everything possible under the rules of professional responsibility to protect Deborah from this nonsense. My hope is that you will do the right thing and immediately dismiss your claim. If not, we will join the sludge and proceed accordingly. So then the public records request was basically any documents, public records, communications that were sent, received, or created from October 1st to present that were between Maness and Stone concerning Duerring, Tanner, the jury commission, or any commentary on that candidate forum that was hosted in Pinehurst. And they basically go paragraph by paragraph disputing everything in the original complaint, challenging all of those allegations. It ultimately says that what Duerring said at the candidate forum were just opinions and that they were protected by the First Amendment to the Constitution, and that ultimately she made no statements concerning Maness. They challenged the malice requirement, and it goes on to seek sanctions as well, not just against Manus, but also the council, for an improper purpose to harass, intimidate, and embarrass Duerring, who's currently seeking elections for that seat, that clerk of court seat. And then just yesterday, Tanner and Duerring jointly filed a change of venue motion, citing Manus's position, various conflicts of interest, Stone's role as a witness, and then extensive historical media coverage between both Manus and Tanner. And, of course, the ongoing political campaign. And they proposed Johnston County as an appropriate alternative. Manus and Porter have just responded, and I'll weave that into a follow-up next week.
And so that change of venue would have been filed on February 5th, as you say.
Let's see, what's today?
It's the 6th.
2 days ago.
2 days ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the 4th, and then that's a pretty comprehensive, you laid it out there, but if people still have questions after they read the story, they can send you an email, mlamb@thepilot.com, MLAMB@thepilot.com. And if you have questions for me, you can send those to frank@thepilot.com. That's FRANK@thepilot.com. And who knows? I guess we might be talking about this some more. So
yeah, we might chat about it next week too.
And for now, though, that's the latest news in Moore County.
Have a good weekend, Frank.
You too.